Greetings, Earth Stars. Eliane Nicole here, your astrologer and tarot reader. And now I'm going to do the weekly cosmic weather report for the week of Monday, March 21st through Sunday, March 27th. And as we start out the week, we are still in the energetic current of the Mercury-Jupiter conjunction in Pisces that happened late Sunday night. So the energy of that transit is very much coloring Monday and the entire week. Internally, this can express as expanding your dream or your vision. It definitely represents big ideas. On the shadow side, internally, it can represent the expansion of confusion or delusions of grandeur. Externally, it can represent good news regarding your dream or vision. It can represent receiving an auspicious message. It can also represent someone telling a tall tale, kind of like a big fish aspect. On the more benevolent side, Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Pisces is like an expansive or enlightening conversation between a student and a teacher or professor. Mercury is the intellect, and Jupiter is expansion and magnification and makes things bigger. Pisces is the dream, healing, medicine, mysticism, psychic activity, and music. So Jupiter conjunct Mercury in Pisces can also represent things like empathy and compassion, philanthropy, or generosity. Keep in mind, we also have a waning moon in Scorpio Monday through lunchtime Tuesday. And people tend to be reactive and emotional when the moon is waning in Scorpio. Plus with Mercury and Jupiter and Neptune all in Pisces too, there's a lot of water energy in the sky at the beginning of the week. So people are very emotional. Emotions are running high Monday and Tuesday. Also Monday, Mars in Aquarius forms a sextile with Chiron in Aries. Archetypically, this is the god of war having a harmonious interaction with the wounded healer, or in this case, the wounded warrior, since Chiron is in Aries, the sign of the warrior. On a geopolitical level, this looks like it could mean that we hear of a wounded warrior who's recovered, or a potential of a truce being reached. A faint potential. On an interpersonal level, this could indicate a healing moment where there had been any kind of fight or competition or struggle that you're dealing with in your personal or professional life. On a very literal level, this aspect can have to do with the healing of a physical injury. On Tuesday, March 22nd, we still have the emotional Scorpio moon in play. But at lunchtime, she moves to Sagittarius, lightening up the mood considerably. Also Tuesday, Mars in Aquarius squares Uranus in Taurus at 12 degrees. So this transit is really going to affect anyone who has any personal planets around 12 to 13 degrees of any of the fixed signs or the air signs or the earth signs. This is a shakeup, possibly part two of a shakeup or disruption that may have happened over the weekend or last week. This can be a shakeup or disruption between men, brothers, soldiers, or competitors. It can be a shakeup around athletes or athletics. It can be a shakeup involving the police. This can also be a sudden injury that occurs. Mars rules scrapes, burns, and cuts. This can also represent gun violence as Mars rules guns. On the geopolitical level, it's a shakeup related to war. It looks like some kind of defiance, plot twist, or rebellion. It's very explosive and disruptive energy around war and conflict on Tuesday. Tuesday is also Mars's day, so that's the day of the week ruled by the god of war anyway. On Wednesday, March 23rd, Mercury conjuncts Neptune in Pisces. So conjunctions are neither good nor bad. They run the scale from the lower vibratory end to the higher vibratory end. I'll start out with the higher vibration of Mercury-Neptune conjunction in Pisces. That's at 23 degrees. And again, let me say, this is going to manifest for you personally if you have any planets at 23 or 24 degrees of any of the water signs or any of the mutable signs. Otherwise, Because it's a collective transit, it could be something that you witness on the world stage, or maybe it's happening in the lives of people you know, or it might be in a book you're reading, or the movies you're taking in, or the content that you're taking in on social media. On the positive side, Mercury conjunct Neptune is great for things like writing poetry. It's great for the imagination. So, expansive ideas and thinking, channeling, psychic work, composing music, painting, things like that. On the shadow side, Mercury conjunct Neptune can be fantasy, delusion, even psychotic breaks or suicidal ideation, confusion, chaos, addiction, escapism. Depending on your own personal astrology is how it will manifest for you. And on the world stage, we're likely to see the good and the bad of what this transit has to offer. It's definitely a time where fake news, propaganda, scams, cons, frauds are at an all-time historical high, like the highest they've been in 165 years. This is a very specific time in history that we're in right now. According to the stars, the greatest deception of all time could be taking place under this transit. Jupiter conjunct Neptune, which we're leading up to with all of this that I'm talking about. And it seems that only a conscious minority see it. Neptune rules deception. Neptune rules smoke and mirrors. Also, Wednesday, March 23rd, Mercury in Pisces forms a sextile with the North Node in Taurus at 23 degrees. And so this is good, creative, fertile, cosmic soil for ideas around anything that you want to grow in your life. And this could be as simple as growing food or flowers. It can be about growing money and investments. It can be about growing your family. This is a really great aspect for coming up with creative ideas that will manifest in the material realm and be quite successful. We're bringing together the earth and water energy so it can really grow things. Thursday, March 24th, starts out with the moon in optimistic Sagittarius for the first half of the day, seeing the glass full, but shifts to Capricorn at about 3 p.m. where the mood becomes very realistic, serious, and business-oriented. The moon will be in hard-working Capricorn through Saturday evening. Thursday through Saturday afternoon this week has very productive, get shit done, work hard, handle practical matters energy. Saturday, March 26th, Mercury in Pisces forms a sextile with Pluto in Capricorn at 28 degrees. Internally, this can present as a very psychologically transformational time. If you have any planets in the anorectic degrees of any of the Earth, water, cardinal, or mutable signs in your natal chart. This means the last degrees, like 28, 29. This makes me think of the plasticity of our brain and how when we do things like meditate every day or do therapy over time or recovery work or exercise every day or engage in a creative practice every day, we can actually change the grooves in our brain. Well, if you have any planets at 28 or 29 degrees, this aspect, it's like your very brain is morphing and healing. It could also signal that you are having some really great ideas that have the potential to transform your life in profoundly beneficial ways if you implement them. On a world level, it feels like the collective consciousness is being fertilized to grow in really beautiful ways during these dark times that may be invisible or beneath the surface to us right now. With so much despair and grief and death all around, it's hard to see the silver linings, but there's an undercurrent of positive transformation happening. Also Saturday, March 26th, Mars in Aquarius is sextile Pallas Athene in Aries. So the god of war is harmonizing with the goddess of wisdom and foresight. So this has to do with implementing a great strategy for a new start in a certain area of your life while keeping the big picture and the bird's eye view in mind. In general, a burst of new energy is happening in this Aries part of our chart as the astrological new year begins again this week. Saturday evening, the moon moves into emotionally detached, aloof Aquarius, where it will be for the rest of the weekend. In the wee hours of Sunday morning, Mercury moves into Aries. Mercury, the planet of our intellect, will finally be out of its detriment in vague brain fog Pisces, and now will be in decisive, blunt, bold Aries for the next couple of weeks. So the tone of the collective communication will change considerably. Mercury in Aries is a fiery communicator, so people may be more argumentative and combative and opinionated than usual through April 10th as the planetary messenger travels through the sign of the warrior. There with the sun, I don't see the war, simmering down during this phase. But that's it for the weekly forecast. Those are the major transits of the week. You can follow me on Instagram at astrology.tarot.elianicole, where I do daily updates in my stories about the planetary transits, as well as pretty consistent updates in my feed as the planets ingress into new signs. And you can also go to the profile bio on my Instagram page at astrology.tarot.elianicole and hit the contact button and text me or email me to schedule a reading directly. Please note that there are scammers and frauds on Instagram pretending to be me, so be sure you have the correct account. There is one L in my handle. I currently have a scammer that has 2 L's in Nicole. So don't follow them. In fact, if you see them, please report them. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and thank you so much for joining me. I love talking about astrology. I would love to read for you personally one day. Have a wonderful week. Goodbye.